What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 160. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011, usually every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Join the chat, join on the conversation over there. But if you can't catch it live, that is A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video in MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, any way you can support the show, sharing, leaving a comment, review, whatever it might be. It may seem small, it does help the channel out, so please make sure you do that. Today we're going to be talking a whole lot of video games, but don't worry, we still got wrestling, because topic one is going to be talking about WWE2K23. Now, a few podcasts ago, we kind of talked about some changes we would like to see in kind of, I guess, expectation for some kind of reveal event to be going on this past weekend, as of recording, at the Royal Rumble event. Turns out we did get a reveal a little prior to that, and then I guess they did have hands-on demos at the Royal Rumble event itself. I haven't seen much footage from that per se, but it did seem like the rumors were true, and that has come to fruition. So we're going to talk about what they've announced so far, features, some roster, and then the different editions of the game, and then continue to talk about, what do we think about the stuff so far, what we want from it, and we'll go from there. So, excuse me, if you missed it, this year's cover superstar is Mr. Cena himself. John Cena will be on the cover this year. Art looks great, following a similar style to last year with a kind of pastel-esque, drawing. I mean, Ray was live. I was about to say live action. It was a photo of him with the kind of hybrid colors behind him, kind of like a trail. But this, they seem to go kind of all with the colors, at least on the base game. So we have, the icon is the pastel. Okay. So you got 3 editions. You got standard, deluxe, and icon. So your standard's just your cover photo of him with some of the colors around him. You got the deluxe, which is an older John Cena with the US Championship, so Thugonomics, and then, as mentioned before, the icon with the pastel. So I think they all look good. The standard's kind of a little plain Jane, not gonna lie there, but the deluxe and icon, their covers look very, very good. So what's the difference between the 3, technically 4 if you're just gonna do cross-gen digital? What's the difference between the 3 editions? So standard edition will get you the base game. Shocker. Deluxe edition is going to get you a little bit more. And then icon will get you even more if you want to shell out the big bucks. So with the deluxe version or edition, rewind. Any edition that you pre-order, you'll get 3 days early access. I think that's all of them. Let's double check something here. Oh, is it not all of them? Okay, that's a lie. Okay, let's start. Oh, scratch that. Just from pre-ordering any edition, you get the Bad Bunny bonus pack. Yes, Bad Bunny is making his appearance and debut in this game. So you get Bad Bunny as a playable character, along with a Ruby My Faction card of Bad Bunny. If you decide to go to the Deluxe Edition, you will get early access, so 3 days early access starting March 14th, as the game will launch on the 17th. You get the Bad Bunny stuff, and then you are going to get the Deluxe Edition content. So you get the Season Pass, full of 5 DLCs, the My Rise Mega Boost, so aka the unlockable everything. Oh wait, no, the My Rise Mega Boost is like buffs to your created character, excuse me. The Superchargers unlock everything. You get a Ruby John Cena card. You get an Emerald Bianca Belair. You get a Gold Asuka, a Gold Edge, and then 3 basic premium launch My Faction packs. So just some packs for that mode for yourself. And then we have the Icon Edition. So all of the perks as listed before for the other editions. And then you also get the Ruthless Aggression content. So you get playable characters including Prototype Cena, Leviathan Batista, a throwback Randy Orton, a throwback Brock Lesnar. Then you're going to also get a Prototype Cena My Faction card, a John Cena Legacy Championship belt, okay, and WrestleMania 22 Arena. And then on top of that, you are also going to get an Emerald Paul Heyman Manager card and 3 Deluxe Premium Launch My Faction packs. So, wow. Ruthless Aggression content. Quite interesting. So this seems to be like a counterpart, or like the closest comparison is your NWO pack or edition from last year. So it's going to cost you a pretty penny. Standard edition, you know, you're 70, just how games are going. Deluxe, I believe, is 100, and then Icon, let's see, Icon's pushing a pretty penny. Oh, it doesn't even give me a price. 120. Okay, so yeah. So if you want that Ruthless Aggression stuff, you're going to be shelling out a little bit. Now, if it's like last year's with the NWO pack, the pack will come out separately. It will not be part of the season pass. It will be its own separate pack, but obviously that will be months down the line. So it's just kind of one of those things, like if you want the content right away, then you can go from there. So cool that they're including those characters. In my opinion, like nothing appealing to me, but cool that they were diving into Cena's history. So speaking of Cena's history, the features that they have announced is that Cena's going to be the showcase. No kidding. So the way it's going to work with the different showcases, you kind of replayed matches of certain superstars throughout their careers, things they won, highlights, championships, big key rivals, wherever it is. They're going to be flipping it on its head this year, and instead of matches that Cena has won, playing as Cena, you're going to be playing matches he lost, and you're going to be playing against his opponents. So, kind of interesting, in my opinion, that they're flipping it on its head this year. So we've seen 3 matches so far, I believe, that they've teased, or at least confirmed with in-game models. So we got Angle versus debuting Cena. We have RVD versus Cena at One Night Stand when RVD won both those championships. And then we have Rock Cena at one of the Manias. Based on the footage they've shown, I think there's a few others that they've teased. One I noticed last night, or 2 nights ago with the Rumble, was WrestleMania 23 versus HBK. However, now that I'm saying that out loud, HBK didn't win that one. I wanted him to win that one, but he didn't win that one. So I guess that's just footage they used. Damn it. So we'll have to see what other matches that they do add in there, and see maybe what kind of legends we can get included in the game itself through this mode. But it's a small tweak, small change to the formula, but I thought it was interesting to kind of have it so you're going against him. I wonder if there will be a difficulty spike to it with their whole slogan of like even stronger or whatever the hell it is. I don't think they would make it like inaccessible to players where it's like so hard that, you know, anyone can't do it. But there's probably that variety or difficulty variety you could pick. Just an interesting concept. So yeah, he'll be the showcase. Above that, we do have returning modes as Universe mode, My Faction mode, obviously, as I talked about with the pre-order stuff, My Rise, so your created superstar, My GM makes its return, and those are the modes that they've announced so far. So, they didn't really mention any changes for Universe mode, I don't know, I said it's so strange, or My Rise. The My Rise, it seems like they're going to have 2 storylines that you can go through, just based on the descriptor here that they have. Walk through the curtains of your WWE debut in My Rise and shape your career as a superstar with the decisions you make along the way, featuring distinct storylines, The Lock and The Legacy. No idea what that entails, but I guess you can at least start your path with some kind of generic backstory, perhaps, maybe 2nd generation, 3rd generation, and then whatever the lock means. Not entirely sure. I didn't play much of 2K22's My Rise mode. I started it, just didn't hook me. I'd like to go back and give it another try leading into 23, but it did seem, from what I heard from other people who were playing the mode, it did seem like a step in the right direction. It was more interesting of an experience compared to past My Career mode. So we'll have to see. how that continues. My faction also getting a few changes. The only one that they announced right here is that now online multiplayer will be added. So similar to the closest comparison of NBA 2K with their My Team mode, you could go against, you create your team and you go against the current teams in the NBA league. Then you could go against historical teams, and then you could also obviously go against other players online. So it seems like that is now a feature. I enjoyed what I played of my faction from 22. I know it wasn't everybody's favorite mode, especially because it had that microtransaction aspect to it. I'm curious how the online multiplayer will work. With 22's game modes with my faction, it was kind of broken up into 3 different, I guess, game modes. I mean, it was just still all wrestling matches, but you had matches where it could be 1v1, 2v2s, triple threats, fatal 4-ways, ladder matches, etc. You had another mode which I feel like it was all one-on-ones, and it was like you just had to win a bunch and then certain milestones would get you something. My memory could be hazy on that. But then I remember the mode, at least that I played the most, was like 4v4s, which was fun because you got to see, a wide array of characters that you had obviously unlocked with these cards. But then the game mode kind of broke down to the same overall. I don't remember if it was elimination or it was one fall. I think it was just one fall. So everybody's trying to interrupt that pinfall, and you could kind of cheese it if you just run and smack everybody else off the apron and hopefully have enough an advantage to pin that final guy in the ring. But I'm curious to see how that changes, and hopefully they can make it a little bit more appealing and fun. As we talked about in the last podcast episode, anything that you unlock in my faction, if they decide to do more attires, better be playable in like other modes, exhibition, whatever, because that's a big incentive for maybe players who didn't play that mode to be like, oh, maybe I should invest my time in this mode to get, whether it's different character models or different attire or different attire pieces, if they want to add it to their creative superstar, whatever it is. I think they should definitely learn from their mistakes there and fix that. Like I said, universe mode doesn't seem to have any changes, at least that they listed. And then we got my GM mode, which, as you guys know, I spent a majority of my time in GM mode. Love the crap out of the mode. Really enjoyed playing it, whether it was solo against the computer or playing against Papa Griff. Just had a blast with it. They are making some updates here. So with their little blurb, with my GM, take the reins of weekly show and compete against rival general managers for brand supremacy. Now featuring more GMs to choose from, additional show options, multiple seasons, expanded match cards, and more match types for up to 4 players. So a lot of love, a lot of TLC going into the GM mode, which is great. Especially, like, I understand the limitations of last year with 2K kind of taking this mode and being their first crack at it. Excited to see what they change. Excited to see these additions and modifications that they might have learned from last year or feedback they have gotten, and see how it grows from here. Multiple seasons already is great. I mean, I honestly didn't mind it once we started going into it of it only being a year, especially if you're going to do multiple games, just a fresh roster. Doing the draft over and over again, that was fun. You could still, I'm sure, do a limitation if you only wanted to do a year or whatever it is. You could still do that drafting aspect of it. But multiple seasons, especially if you have the ball rolling, you like your roster, that's great. And sometimes it's not enough of a momentum swing back in order to catch up. Maybe this will allow for a little bit more of a back and forth with that extended timeline and not just an arcing path of domination or whatever it is. Expanded match cards, I'm excited to see what that entails. If it's just more match types, I think we only had normal, extreme rules, table, and Hell in a Cell last time. TLC was also there. So I wonder if they'll add regular ladder. I wonder if they'll add like tornado tag maybe to the regular tag team matches instead of just extreme rules, or some other type of match. Maybe they'll add Royal Rumbles if you're going to do cross pay-per-views. I don't know how that would work exactly, but I know GM modes of the THQ and Yuki's days did that. And I guess that could kind of wrap into more match types for up to 4 players. Now, this one's a little confusing, and maybe it's just me with the phrasing. Match types for up to 4 players. Does that mean for human players, or does it mean just multi-man matches, triple threats, fatal 4-ways? If it's the multi-man aspect, I think that's great. There's some times where, unfortunately, somebody just kind of gets left in the wayside because they're not in a rivalry, and then their popularity bombs, even though their stamina is great. So when you try and re-implement them into the program, it's like, well, they're not going to draw because no one cares about them. I would assume that's how the phrasing is intended, but I'm really not sure. It would be interesting to do more than a 2-player game. Do a Raw roster, SmackDown roster, NXT. I assume maybe you could do a faux NXT UK. Not that, I don't know if I would ever get that together with people who are interested. It could be fun, and more options is always better. But I'm leaning towards the multi-man match in that aspect, or at least that's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, I'm curious to see all the additions in this. I wonder what GMs they're going to add. Papa Griff and I were joking about it on Saturday. Like, Regal's back in there, so you could keep him in there. So you got, Pierce, Sonya, Regal. You had Shane and Steph last time, and then your custom superstar. I wonder if they'll throw in some legends, maybe like a Teddy Long. I don't think you do Laurinaitis. He's out. Maybe a Mick Foley from like Attitude Era or current. More current, I guess you could say. You could do an HBK now that he's kind of in charge of, NXT. And then, yeah, we'll have to see who they add there. And I wonder how the cards will come into play. I think the cards were a good addition to last year. I've gone and bitched about the Superstar training, how it doesn't make sense for the jobbers, and enhancement talent were nice. But from a personal standpoint, I don't want to use that card on somebody like Chester with his mop and have him permanent, unless it's going to be he's a permanent enhancement talent kind of thing, I guess, like just a filler. But I don't want to build him up to be this thing, and maybe that's just me, and like, I want the superstars that I watch the show with, I want them to be up there. But if they keep the creative aspect with it, where how we were making our own rosters, or having the NXT guys be those enhancement talent that you could draft afterwards, making them permanent superstars like they're moving up to the main roster, that's great. The retention card, a little rough, can kind of be not game breaking. I have lost with that card, but maybe making something a little bit more counterable, or adjusting that card might be a good move. I'm curious to see what the other GMs will have for them, because there were definitely ones that I favored. I think Pierce allowed you to add to rivalries 1 level. Sonya, I think, was 15 morale. So I think those are the 2 that I kind of lean towards. Shane's was ass with the network deal. That was stupid. Stephanie with double money was good. Regal had extra championships. So, okay, maybe only Shane had the short end of the stick. But I'm curious to see how they play around with that. Additional show options, I'm not sure if that just means also additive to the matches, or if it's going to be kind of the arena lighting, etc., etc. It'll be interesting. On topic, says Papa Griff, with the multiple year option, wonder if they'll do like Madden or NBA and age the wrestlers. Yeah, that's an interesting point. I'm not sure, because then you could, I think they might have had something similar in the Yuki's games, where you could have a storyline where it was like the legend on their way out, or you could put people into the Hall of Fame. I feel like I remember that being like, maybe not like an achievement, because the consoles during well, I guess Xbox 360 had achievements. I feel like that was something where, unless that was just the create a superstar mode or story mode, where it was like get your person to enter the Hall of Fame. I don't know if they've done that with the GM mode, but that would be interesting. And I wonder how it's going to play out, because we had it obviously in 22. The people you draft are the people you have for the entire time. You don't have to worry about re-signing any of them or any of that. I wonder if the draft, if A, it will stay similar, but it will be a year time. Well, okay, there's 3 options. Sorry, rewind again. 3 options. Will it be A, people you draft are your people, unless you have a falling out through your emails? 1. People you draft are people you have for a year, and then after that you need to re-sign them, maybe not re-sign them, go like kind of like a fresh draft, but you have, I guess, advantage of who you've picked in the past? Or is it going to be option 3, where it's like the old Yuki's games, 3 months, 6 months, I don't know if they had a 9 months option, or a year? Like, you'll have that option right off the bat of how long of a contract you want to sign. We saw in post-draft stuff, like you could sign on the talent week to week, and it would usually range from a 5 to 10 week program. I wonder if that will change, or if maybe those numbers were just reflective of the 1 year at a time game mode. We'll have to see. But it's interesting. It's enticing. I think this is definitely the most excited I am, or the mode I'm most excited for going into 23. I've already pre-ordered my copy. I'm looking forward to March now for multiple reasons. I mean, there's a lot of games that are coming out in March. We talked about the Disney trip, and now 23 finally being confirmed for the March window. It's just going to be a busy month in March, and a very exciting month. So let's talk about confirmed superstars so far. Oh, actually, no, we got one more feature to talk about. They did add a huge game mode into 23. We're adding war games. So action-packed fan favorite makes its debut in 23, delivers a heart-pounding 3v3 and 4v4 multiplayer mayhem inside 2 side-by-side rings surrounded by a double steel cage. So cool that they're adding war games in here. Obviously, NXT has made its mark with the War Games match these past couple of years, with Triple H being charged and now it making to the main roster on the past Survivor Series. Cool to see it there. Hopefully it works out well and is fun. It seems like you're going to only be able to throw this match similar to Hell in the Cell of years past in certain arenas. So there'll be NXT War Games as well as Survivor Series War Games. Those will be the only arenas to hold it. Hopefully it works all well. I think I remember hearing that you can also have the option for weaponry in there. How you will be able to control that, I'm not sure. Maybe it'll be a switch control of what character on your team you pick, and then you decide if you want to grab a weapon on the outside, similar to how they do it IRL. We'll have to see. But great, War Games is in there, and that'll be a fun addition, I'm sure. So let's talk about the roster so far. So they don't have anybody on the 2K official roster site, so we're going to use the SmackDown Hotel similar to last year, and they're pretty good with their info, and they've pretty much just taken anything we've seen from imagery or potentially, whatever screenshots that 2K has released officially, and kind of pulled from there. So anybody we've seen in Supercard, anybody we've seen in the MyGM photo, they're pulling from there and using that. So take everybody with a grain of salt, but at least from what SmackDown Hotel has kind of picked and choosed from what they can tell, this is what we got. So we got AJ Styles, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Austin Theory, Bad Bunny is your pre-order, Batista, we got Batista Leviathan, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar 02, Braun Breaker, Cody Rhodes, Cruz del Toro, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, Edge, Goldberg, Hollywood Hogan, Both Usos, John Cena 02, John Cena Prototype, Johnny Gargano, Kevin Owens, Kurt Angle, Logan Paul, Randy Orton 02, Rey Mysterio, Rhea Ripley, RVD, Roman Reigns, Ronda Rousey, Sheamus, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Miz, The Rock, Tommaso Ciampa, Triple H, Trish Stratus, Ultimate Warrior, and The Undertaker. So, that's the list they have so far. Obviously, I assume we'll get a whole lot more as we get closer. Maybe they'll do like a roster reveal of some sorts. I don't remember how they handle 22 in their reveals. But yeah. So new people, we got only 4 so far. So Bunny, Breaker, Rhodes, and then Angle? I guess Angle wasn't in last year's. Speaking of Rhodes, as of recording, his full entrance was revealed today. Yeah. Looks pretty good. I wouldn't say amazing. Some of the pyro looks a little weird, not going to lie. But character model-wise, looks great. So, looking forward to seeing more of that. Hopefully the audio is a little bit better, too. I don't know, seemed a little quiet, at least from the video I watched. Looking forward to more. Looking to see who they add and reveal along the way. And yeah, just like we talked about, hopefully these changes, are good or compelling or interesting, and kind of build up the modes that maybe people thought were lacking and just add on to the ones that people were already enjoying.